Friday Night Racing
on Off the Ball.
And they're off.
Brought to you by Go Racing. Plan your day at the races at goracing.ie.
All right, a very good afternoon to you. Welcome along to Friday Night Racing. If you're listening on the radio this evening, well done. And if you're watching us live, streaming across any of our platforms on YouTube, on Twitter or on Facebook, then you're very welcome and you can leave a comment for us. And we'll put them to today's special guest. Johnny Ward is back from his holidays, but Donnacha O'Brien is here with us. Donnacha, how are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
A good holiday, Johnny?
Yeah, I was away in Lisbon and then came back home and then went to Milan and had a taxi driver from Uzbekistan in Dublin in between, which was the first. He reckons he's the only Uzbekistan taxi driver in Ireland. And he had to get me.
There you go.
Lisbon was beautiful. Have you ever been to the Algarve or neck of the woods?
No.
It was 25 degrees, which was fairly nice this time of year, and deserted, beautiful beaches, and all these golf courses if you're into that, which I'm not.
Yeah. Are you nearly on holidays?
From Tuesday I'll be on holidays,
okay.
Hopefully.
And have you got 20-year-olds go to Ibiza or Magaluf or...?
Well, I'm going to Breeders' Cup for a week. I don't think I'm riding there, so that's...
You're not riding there, no?
I'm suspended on the Saturday, so... and all the weights are probably too light on the Friday, so I think I'm off. And then might go away for a week after that then for another trip, so...
To try and get your head around the amazing year you've had and kind of look back a little bit?
Yeah, exactly. It's been incredible. It's been a great year. It's gone so much better than I could have expected. So no, it's been incredible. Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll talk about maybe some of the specifics of the year in a couple of minutes' time. But I guess we were chatting off air about when you came in. I asked you, did you want a cup of tea or coffee? And you're like, I can't really drink anything, and it was a bit of a decision to have the water or not. And Johnny was like, how much have you eaten in the last 24 hours? And it turns out not a lot is the answer.
Yeah, look, it's not easy. Every jockey's kind of in the same boat when you're doing your lightest weight. You know, you're going to not eating a whole lot, but look, I'm doing it to ride good horses. A lot of lads are doing it not to ride good horses, so it's, you take it. It's just part of the job.
How much have you actually eaten in the last 24 hours? What has passed your lips?
Not a lot. Probably, maybe half a can of Red Bull and a few jellies, something like that. But it is what it is. You get used to it.
Another way you have a girlfriend.
Fan or what are the jellies?
No. What are they? Natural jellies. Jelly snakes.
They're not bad.
Yeah.
The way you have a girlfriend, she's very ratty when she's hungry and she gets into hanger mode. This is after 3 or 4 hours of not eating.
It happens to men as well.
He's in good, particularly women. Donnacha's in amazingly good form for a man who hasn't eaten in 2 days. I have to say.
You get used to it, yeah.
I would also just like to apologise to Donnacha on behalf of everybody here that there was a loud conversation about Krispy Kreme donuts that
thanks, Johnny.
That our producer and Johnny insisted on having over Donnacha's head just after he said he hasn't eaten in the whole day. Let me tell you about this donut craze that's going on.
I had 2.5 donuts for the show, and in fairness to Donnacha, he's aware of them, but he's just not able to eat them at the moment.
Yeah.
So does that mean, is that as I said, most people your age kind of go for their summer holidays and go a bit crazy. Are you going to go like San Sebastian and eating Michelin-starred restaurants and kind of like...
Oh yeah, I'll probably pig out for a few weeks. No, look, I'll probably try and kind of watch fairly-ish okay, but I'll eat properly for a few weeks. Kind of not even look at weighing scales. So you have to have a break. You have to let yourself kind of go up a little bit. And
you probably get way more questions about this than anybody else because of the career arc of your brother as well, who obviously was a sensational jockey for a short period of time and then just decided that, look, this is too difficult. Do you know that's coming, or do you think that maybe you can be slightly different? And
no, I'm not going to ride for. It's not going to be. I'm not going to be riding in 10 years' time. I'd say pretty much definitely not. Look, I'll see. I'll take it 1 year at a time. My weight's no worse now than it was last year, so hopefully I'll get another year out of it, and then at the end of that year I'll reassess again. Yeah,
because that's really it. Like, other than that, you probably would. You'd like to stay riding for 10. It seems like you enjoy this.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, when you there's no one, very few people in the world that has the opportunities I have in terms of riding horses. So when I can keep doing it, I keep doing it as long as I can.
Yeah. Do you remember the first time you got up on a horse and decided that this was the thing that you wanted to do? Like, I guess it's hard for us to kind of understand exactly what the family environment is. So I guess you're 2 or 3 and you're being put up on horses.
Yeah, as long as I can remember, I wanted to be a jockey. It's kind of the environment that we were in. There was never a moment where I thought, this is what I want to do. It was always the kind of route I wanted to go down. And when Joseph,
can I just ask about that, right?
Yeah.
You didn't want to be a trainer when you were watching your dad doing the training stuff.
No, literally.
I want to be the guy on the horse.
Since I was a kid, I knew that I wanted to be a jockey and then go into training. That's kind of what, like, I wanted to be a jockey, but I didn't. I knew I was, you know, I was fairly sure I wasn't going to be a jockey till I was 50, you know, that kind of way.
Yeah.
So, and even, you know, a lot of jockeys nowadays, when they do retire, they go into training. So that's kind of what I always had in the back of my mind.
You know, one of the few young lads was like, please stop growing, you know. Most of us wanted to be good footballers or whatever, like, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, did you look at Joseph then when he started off and you're like, all right, this can be done?
Yeah, exactly. You know, when he started doing it and he started doing so well, then it kind of became a reality that I can actually give this a shot. You know, so I was, you know, obviously I rode horses since I was born. So and then I started riding out and riding more work, and when I started to enjoy that, and you know, I felt I was okay at it, and then, you know, it was just natural progression, really.
You had a great line when you were interviewed after the Oaks on telly about, you know, what's your greatest attribute as a jockey, and you said, my dad's son. But like, if you were no good, he wouldn't be putting you on the horses. So the owners would be like, do you mind if we kind of get our own jockey on? You know, so like, with the benefit of having access to the horses comes the pressure of having to deliver then.
Yeah, look, absolutely. If I wasn't able to ride them, I don't think I would be on them. But I think no matter how good a jockey you are, it all depends on how good your horse is. I'm very lucky. I'm riding for some very good people. All the owners, you know, plenty of names, probably too many to mention, but they're so supportive of me. They're so good and easy to ride for. That, you know, I really appreciate it.
They've probably all known you since you were a kid as well. So they've actually seen you grow up. It's not like it's somebody who kind of is getting parachuted in and foisted upon them. They're like, well, you know, I'd say that conversation is an interesting conversation. Well, we think this guy's the best jockey, and so do we. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, but look, as they have, you know, Ryan Moore is number one. He's arguably the best jockey in the world, and you know, he's on the top horses when he can be, and you know, and then when he can't be there, myself and Shamey and Wayne are there as backup. So you know, they probably have the number one in the world, and then after that, we just have to not mess up, you know.
Do you ever want to be the number one jockey anywhere because it's such a short career? Are you happy enough in the circumstances?
Look, I'm very lucky in the position I'm in. You know, as you know, most of the races I'm riding good horses, and a lot of the time I don't even have the pressure of being on the number one. So it's probably the best of both worlds. And look, of course you'd love to be riding the best horses all the time, but I'd never complain. And I think I'm delighted to be in the position I'm in.
When Ryan Moore is he's in the States, I think it's the Kentucky Derby's on, and the 2000 Guineas is on. Is that right?
Yeah.
And Saxon Warrior is your mount. Like, how involved are you in ending up on Saxon Warrior that week, or is it kind of just okay, this is what you're riding, and like how are the horses divided up in each race?
Well, I rode Saxon in all his work. I won his maiden on him, so I knew him well. I suppose it was kind of more down to what Mendelssohn was doing. So after he won the Breeders' Cup turf, or the juvenile turf, he was kind of always in the back of our mind. We'd think about Kentucky, and then when he went to Dubai and won by half the track there on the dirt, it was like, okay, this horse has a chance in Kentucky, and it's such a valuable race, and he had such a valuable profile as a dirt stallion that kind of it was important for Ryan to be there for him. So then it was a natural that, you know, I got lucky and I got the chance to ride Saxon. Okay,
that's it. Like when you're seeing how well it's Mendelssohn, is it going to? Yeah. So when you're seeing how well that's doing, you're like, yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
I like the way the Derby and the Guineas are lining up here. I might get a chance here.
Yeah, exactly. And I think another thing people forget is probably Gustav Klimt was actually, I think he was probably a shorter price than Saxon Warrior going to the Guineas, and Shamey was riding him in all his work. So
it just felt that way.
Yeah, it just worked well. You know, it wasn't like I just got the call up and got lucky to ride Saxon. It just worked out very easy, and that Shamey, he rode the other one, and I rode Saxon.
Because I watched the race back there. It's 98 seconds long, and it's madness. It's like, it's so fast. The adrenaline in that race must be ridiculous.
Yeah, everything happens quick. You're riding more out of field than thinking about anything really. But look, when you're riding the race the whole time, you get used to it. You learn to think quick, and I suppose it's just, you know, it's part of the job, and you just get used to it eventually. Because
that race is you're kind of it's a fairly straight line in that you kind of held your position and everybody else fell back from you, and you kind of streak away, and it's close enough. Like, at what point do you get comfortable, or at what point do you think, okay, this is going well, and how much looking around are you actually doing in the middle of that race?
I'd say you thought he was going to win nearly the whole way.
Yeah, I never felt like I was in trouble. He travelled beautifully. He quickened up when I asked him. I probably asked him too early, but look, Newmarket's you know, people say, oh, well done, you won a Guineas. Realistically, they're them kind of races are probably the easiest to actually ride. Like it's a straight line. Everyone has plenty of space.
Don't get your pace wrong.
Yeah, exactly. You know, as long as you don't do anything too stupid, if you're on the best horse, you'll probably win in a race like a Guineas.
Was that the best day in terms of enjoyment to win the race?
Yeah, definitely at that stage, because it was my first classic. It was obviously a high pressure ride, as high pressure ride as I'd had up to that point. So definitely, yeah, up to that stage, it was the best day I'd had in racing.
What does it feel like then when you come in and your father is there? Because that goes a long way beyond winning the race. And in fairness, you could tell that Aidan got a great kick out of Joseph back in the day, and then for you to come along, I don't know, that must be a special kind of feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we're very close and we get on very well. So I think it was kind of like, it was probably a big enough call from him to put me on the horse as well. So that was kind of, so you know, he was probably relieved as well, more than that.
That's the thing that I think does maybe not mention. There is a lot of pressure on Aidan when Joseph came along, and there'll be a lot of begrudgers in Ireland who'll say Aidan is putting this lad up because he's his son. Joseph's not good enough. How privileged is he? And you know, the owners like are only doing it because Aidan wants to do it. And then Joseph comes along and he's very, very good. And then Donnacha came along and has matured into a great jockey. And I think Aidan deserves a bit of credit for that, because that was a gamble. Like if they weren't good enough, they wouldn't be there. And imagine how embarrassing that would be if they suddenly were jocked off horses.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and in fairness to you, that is that pressure. Like, you know you're privileged, but you have to deliver.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're probably under more pressure because of it, because you know, people are thinking if it does go wrong, straight away they're going for your neck. You know, that kind of way. So. I think we're probably under. Well, I'm lucky that I'm not number one, but Joseph was definitely under a massive amount of pressure when he was riding.
You seem to be very laid back though, as well.
Yeah, I suppose, you know, some people say that. Look, it's all I've known since I was a kid. So it's you know, it's not, you know, I probably don't feel the pressure as much as people who are not as involved when they're younger. So it's become second nature to me, really, just to be involved with them.
Was your first ride your most nervous, or was it bigger races?
Oh God, probably when I first started riding in big races was probably the most pressure, and then yeah, the first ride was probably pressure because people expected me to be, you know, Joseph had gone and he was a great jockey, and people expected me to be the same, so that was plenty of pressure. And then when you're first having rides in classics, but at this stage I've got used to it now, and I don't really feel it a whole lot anymore.
How did that pressure feel? Was it like just the usual butterflies in the stomach? Was it kind of, did you need to talk to somebody in advance and go, what do I do here? Like,
no, it's pressure. You feel nerves, you get over it. You know, you go out, you do your thing. It's just, you know, you learn to cope with it when you do have nerves. It's one of those things, you get used to it. You know, you just have to put your head down and ignore it, really.
Yeah. What's the big issue? Is it like if you have a plan in a race and all of a sudden in one furlong that plan is gone, you have to. That's when you have to, you know, you have to act on your feet, like.
Yeah, you just have to not panic. I mean, probably yesterday I rode a horse in Thurles. Just an example, I planned on making a run.
Madrid, is it?
Yeah, I thought I was going to make the run and jumped out. I wasn't travelling very well. They went very quick, so I just slotted in there, third, fourth, last, and just kept them comfortable. You know, you just have to not panic, be aware of what's going on around you, and kind of ride the race, ride the horses as the feel he's given you, what he's able to do, and you know, don't pressure them too early, really.
Was there time to think in the 2000 Guineas though? Because it is so quick. Like, is there, even in that race, is there time to think?
Yeah, you're thinking. It's not a big long thought process. It's kind of has to be fairly, you know. Okay, I'm here. This is the second favourite. He's there. That's pretty much all you're thinking. Everything else is natural.
So it's just kind of spatial awareness of what's happening.
Exactly, it's what's happening. You know, what pace you're on.
How much peripheral vision do you have? Do you have to bend your head to see?
Yeah, you don't actually have a whole lot. I think people probably think you have more than you have. So if I'm on a horse and there's a horse half length down on me, I probably can't tell what the horse is.
Okay.
I'd probably have to look around to see what that is.
And do you have a tendency to look around? Or
yeah, you have little looks. You just have to, you know, turn your head a little bit and kind of see behind you. But you do have to turn your head, and probably you have to. I think people probably think it's easier to see around you than it actually is.
Well, let's talk about the Oaks then, because Forever Together is not a straight race. It's not a kind of, I'm just going to sit here. It's like you're driven right over to the rail, which ultimately ends up being the, like, I don't know if you're heading that way anyway, but certainly, I don't know what horse it was kind of pushing in that direction.
Yeah, going to the outside rail in Epsom, yeah. So the ground was soft in Epsom. if you can ever see the track, there's a big camber, so the part of the track that's beside the stands is much higher up than the other side of it, so you know, it makes sense if there's water after falling on the track, it's probably going to flow down the hill, so leaving that the top part of it quicker. So you know, that a few of the winners had come up that side.
You were aiming for that side anyway?
Yeah, you know, I had it in the back of my head. I was following Ryan. Ryan started to come that side, so it was easy for me. My filly just followed her along, and thankfully I had the gears to kind of get up his outside as it was and get on the rail before he did. And she done it really well, yeah.
And in that race, at what point are you going, ooh, we've got this?
You know, probably about 4 or 5 out when it's starting to come down the hill and the race is starting to get going, and you're still feeling really comfortable. Filly's moving great, she's travelling easy, and she's breathing good, and you're just starting to think, you know, okay, this one has a chance. Keep her balanced, and but you know, you don't really know until you ask questions what they're going to find. Yeah,
because like that's interesting. That's quite far out, and I'm wondering, have you had that feeling on horses then, and you go, okay, right, here we go, and then nothing happens?
Yeah, absolutely. There's times when you think you're doing a half speed, you think, okay, how far am I going to win here? And you say, right, go on, and there's nothing there, it's empty. And so, but you have to kind of learn which horses are like that. I think it's, you know, some people say that them horses are ungenuine, but it's probably the other way around, in that they give you everything on the bridle. You don't have to ask them anything for them to be giving you everything, and you just have to learn which horses they're like and just hold on to them a bit longer.
Are you a forgiving type with horses?
In what way now?
Like, do you give them the benefit of the doubt, or you kind of quickly say,
you can
not
tell
a fan of this lad?
Very easily if it's an attitude problem.
How do you tell? That's one thing I'm fascinated by now.
Some horses, when you say, right, go on, and they're just empty. You can just feel there's nothing there. They're after giving their all. Other horses, when you say go on, you can feel them curling up. It's a strange feeling. It's like the horses sucking in underneath you. They become a kind of a different shape, and they become harder to push, and their head is kind of back. It's a strange sort of feeling, but.
Do you enjoy riding a horse like that? Because there is a challenge to it.
No.
Because I think a lot of jockeys would enjoy the challenge of it, like, but I guess you know that when push comes to shove, it's...
no.
Give me why does that happen though? Is that a no, it's obviously not one particular reason, but is it primarily mental or is it primarily physical?
Look, I think people are the same. At the end of every race, horses are going to be getting tired. It's the same with people. Some people are able to push themselves further than others, and I think some horses, when they start to feel, when it starts to be tough on them, when they start feeling tired, they just say, no, I'm not enjoying this, I'm just gonna quit. You know, that kind of way. They're not refusing to go, but they're just not pushing themselves. Other horses just have it naturally. They literally want to give you everything. They want to gallop, they want to get to the front, and you know, it's a massive help when they're like that.
That's why I think the Galileo thing has been so, because just 999 times out of 1,000, they seem to be fairly straightforward and very genuine.
Really genuine, and you find even the ones that look to be ungenuine, they might have blinkers on or something like that. The more you ask them, the more you pressure them, they'll keep finding. Some horses, the more you pressure them, the more they want to come back underneath you. Even the Galileos, 99% of them are very genuine, and even the ones that look to be a bit lazy, if you really get stuck into them, they'll find, you know, they'll give it to you.
Where do you see his heir apparent when it comes to maybe?
Look, there's a lot of very exciting young stallions coming up in terms of middle distance horses like Galileo. You have Australia, you know, Camelot. Camelot's done fantastic. The Australians have done fairly well this year, and they'll be better next year. Then you have the likes of, you know, Churchill, whether he'll be a middle distance stallion remains to be seen, but you have a lot of very promising sons of Galileo, and then with Camelot obviously Montu, but we have a lot of promising stallions coming through.
Is breeding something you'd like to get into?
Mum and Dad have a band of broodmares, so we breed horses the whole time, as it is. So that's a very exciting part of it as well. You know, you see the horses you're breeding, and you're watching them as foals and watching them become you know, hopefully champions. That's the goal. So that's that's obviously a very exciting part of it as well.
Yeah, because like there's a lot of different career opportunities. You can kind of do anything at this point.
Yeah.
Obviously, being a jockey is the thing you want to do the most. Just one last question on when you feel the horse kind of quailing. Have you been able to win races when that's happened, or is that it?
You know, a lot of horses, it doesn't happen until they get to the front. And then it's kind of more of a, sometimes it can be a kind of a, some horses are natural leaders and some others aren't. They just want to be, you know, they feel comfortable in behind horses, and you just have to produce them late, try and get on the line, a few strides before the winning line and just, try and get there late and try and not have to ask them as much as possible. But
and do you ever work a horse as hard in training as they're worked in the races, so that you know this in advance, or is that all stuff that you
definitely know some of them in advance. You probably don't work them as hard as a race, but sometimes you'd get very close to it. You'd ask them and you get to the front and you could feel them stop, and yeah, definitely you'd know their
so you're building up that characteristic knowledge in advance.
Get to know them well.
Yeah, well, that makes a lot of sense. A reminder, of course, Friday Night Racing is brought to you by GoRacing.ie. We haven't even talked about the Irish Derby and Latrobe. So it's good when you're like on some of your dad's best horses, and then you're on some of your brother's best horses, and sometimes you win for your brother as well.
You don't even have to ride out there.
No.
He's a very good brother, like.
Yeah, well.
Just ride away my 4 to 5 favourite, and you don't need to come in the morning either. Happy days.
I'm at Dad's 7 days a week, so I don't have a chance really to go down to Joseph, and he's a good team of lads down there. He's a lot of apprentices and jockeys down there with him, so I think he doesn't need me down there.
Latrobe?
Yeah, it was he's he's a good horse. The race worked out well for him. Obviously, to win an Irish Derby was incredible, especially for Joseph, to beat two of Dad's. So, for him to be second and third, and it was an unbelievable day. Yeah,
that was a remarkable one as well. Just for two young brothers to do that, like, and a horse that was 20 to 1, 25 to 1, like.
Yeah, he was a bit unexposed. He was a horse Joseph always thought was top class. He had been beaten in the maiden earlier in the season by Huntinghorn, who went on to win Grade 1s and things. He is a good horse, and it was nice to finally get him to show it on the track.
Mm-hmm. Is there other stuff apart from winning the races that's like the best part of the job? Like on a day-to-day basis when, obviously you've had loads of winners, so maybe this is a stupid question, but apart from winning races, is there other bits of this that you're like, yeah, I love this?
Probably like, when the 2-year-olds start to work, or even when the 2-year-olds turn 3 and you're getting to know them and you're sitting on something and it works seriously well, and you're like, okay, what's this? It's that feeling of this could be anything kind of a thing. It's probably a very exciting part of it as well. But look, the goal is to win races. That's the goal, and that's the best part of it.
When that happens, what time of year is that? Is that kind of winter, early spring?
Yeah, it's strange. It can be any time of year. The early 2-year-olds, it'll be kind of just before the flat racing starts, and then there's horses 2-year-olds that could be showing you nothing all year, and suddenly they're just starting to strengthen up and they start working seriously well, and they can just improve a massive amount. So it can be any time of the year really. Yeah. It's just that's I suppose early season when you literally know nothing about them is probably the most exciting time, because you could be the next Frankel or something in that bunch of horses.
Yeah, it's a blank slate, of course. Yeah, Johnny, we're going to look at some races this week. Before we do though, champion jockey this year from in Ireland it isn't a massive achievement really, and we should reflect on it. Talking to various people who are involved in sport, there is a point of the year where they start looking back and kind of taking full proper recognition of what they've done. Have you had any sense of that just yet, or is that for the holidays and you'll actually watch back these races?
Yeah, look, the last few weeks I've kind of I've been comfortably ahead, and I've stopped doing some of the lightweights in fillies, maidens and things like that, where I've kind of felt like I was clear, and then I suppose I get to look back a bit and appreciate what an amazing season it's been, and I'm very grateful to have had the season, and I suppose so yeah.
Are you on YouTube wormholes going, oh look at this, and then I won that one, and then I won that one? Is there any of that?
Yeah, the odd time you look back on a race, like you look back at the Guineas or an Oaks or something like that, or the Derby, the odd time, but
after a few pints.
I don't drink, so no, but
you don't drink either?
No.
They're just too good, this family. In fairness, so in all seriousness, I don't think he's gotten enough credit for his talent and how often he basically just doesn't make mistakes in races, and that's all without understanding how you feel after basically not eating for 2 days. I still don't get how jockeys can perform to the level they do, considering that their body really isn't in the optimum shape it should be.
Are you into the science of food and nutrition and dieting and all that stuff?
Yeah, I suppose it's obviously a big part of it, but at the same time, if I probably went on a healthy diet, I'd probably be too heavy, if that makes sense.
Or you jump horses?
No. So you kind of, it's probably, look, I'm gonna do this for a few years, and it might.
It's okay to make the sacrifice now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's, it could probably my diet's not where it should be, but it probably can't realistically be where it should be to be making the weights. You know?
Yeah.
What weight would you be if you were in a 9-to-5 job right now?
I don't know. No idea.
Probably be 11 or 12 stone.
Yeah, look, I'm fairly tall. I don't know, but look, I don't have to struggle horrendously bad for my weight. You know, I don't feel bad when I get up on the horses. I don't.
You don't feel weak?
No, not really. You get used to it.
Do you do weights and do you have a gym program and all that kind of stuff, or is
I don't do weights because I don't want to put on any extra muscle. You know, you don't. I keep fit working. I'm working with Dad. I'm riding horses 7 days a week. You know, if I try and keep active, play a bit of sport, and if I'm not racing and things like that.
What sport are you playing?
A bit of everything. You know, I kind of play a bit of golf very badly. Play a bit of five-a-side soccer, things like that. Just you know, nothing.
Where's the five-a-side?
Well, we haven't been doing it for the last few weeks. We need to get back going again. But just lads in Ballydoyle, we play in Clare, and we used to play once a week there about a month ago. But
few non-Irish lads, kind of cosmopolitan characters.
No, it's
all Irish lads.
A bit of everything.
Yeah.
We have a few Brazilians that are very
different
good.
culture, good on the ball.
Yeah.
You'd be more of a. Hard to define him now, considering you're looking at a jockey. What sort of footballer would you be? If you were an Irish I won't say if you're an Irish international. If you were a Premier League player, who would you be?
Oh God, I don't know. I don't know. I fancy myself as a midfielder, but I'm
holding midfielder.
No, I'm too soft. I'm too soft to be tackling and things like that. So I probably think I'm a lot better than I am. I'm actually not very good at all, to be honest.
You'd want to put on a bit of weight to advance your football career anyway. Probably. You won't get away with it.
No.
There was one last thing I wanted to talk to you about. Your sister obviously had a bad injury, and it's tricky when you're in the same industry to kind of look at that and not be impacted by it. She's obviously living it on a day-to-day basis, and you kind of have to be aware of it and aware of the difficulties and the dangers of the sport, but at the same time kind of park it. So there is just a difference there.
Yeah, look, of course when it happened, it's a bit of a shock, and you're kind of thinking, okay, do I really need to be doing this? And but at the end of the day, look, accidents happen in any walk of life. It doesn't matter what you're doing, and you just have to put it out of your mind and look, take all the precautions that something like that doesn't happen. Yeah, but look, it's part of the job. You hope it never happens, and you just have to not think about it, really, to be honest with you.
That's it really, because
if you start thinking about it, you're in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. If you start worrying about getting hurt in horse racing, there's no point doing it. You're going to start riding bad. You're going to be taking horses out of positions that you should be in, and you just have to put it at the back of your mind.
If you lose your bottle, you're gone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it is such a short career.
Yeah, so it's
it could be like, look, Kevin Manning was riding. I was up in the parade ring the other day, and he's at Navan. He's in his 50s, and Kevin's probably riding the guts of 35 years now. Amazing, considering, again, a fellow who's not naturally a jockey in terms of weight. Like he's been Frankie Dettori's in his 50s. Leicester Road at 60 odd, huh?
He's a little guy. Frankie's a little guy.
Yeah, but even still to ride, it's not as short a career flat jockeys necessarily, which is why Donnacha's is a bit different, because it is necessarily a short career, and you're obviously not going down the but if you go training as well, like, there's no hope for anyone if you Aidan and Joseph are training. Like, it's just, I don't know, they'd have to give the other laddies a chance.
Will you branch out on your own? Is that the long-term plan, or will you
hopefully, yeah.
Where are they going to put you?
I don't know. Yeah, but that's it's a good question. Like, you have to find a place to train. You have to find horses to train. It's logistically it takes a bit more than just deciding, right, I'm going training. That kind of.
Are you already thinking of little things along the way, like this will stand to me down the line as a trainer? Because
when you're working with Dad and Joseph, you learn things the whole time, whether you want to be or not. Look, hopefully someday, hopefully that's the road I'll go down, and I think I'd enjoy it, and I'd be hoping that I'd be fairly okay at it. With the amount that I think I'd like to think that I'm learning anyway. So.
How will you be with owners?
I don't know. I suppose I won't know until after.
I think you'd be all right, actually. Yeah. Personable character. Yeah.
Most people have these kind of rows with their siblings and their parents. Like, when you have them, you're having them about work, because you're there all the time. Is that just well, Dad's the boss still?
Yeah.
For now.
No, Dad's the boss. What Dad says goes. So doesn't matter who's right or wrong. Dad is right.
There's every chance in my lifetime, Aidan, Joseph and Donnacha will train the first three home in an Irish Classic. And that'll be an incredible thing. It'll just be a question of who finishes first.
I'll probably be third again anyway.
Yeah.
Well, look, congratulations on an amazing year. You're on your way to Dundalk right now.
Yeah.
So by the time this goes out on the radio this evening...
He's not finished yet. He used to tell us about his big rise tomorrow. Yeah, because this brings us on to the big race tomorrow.
There you go. Go on. Let's start.
This is beautiful. We have exclusive access to the jockey riding the hot favourite in the final Group 1 of the season tomorrow, namely Magna Graecia.
Yeah, he's grand.
Especially as I like your stablemate in the race with a much bigger price, so he can tell me that I'm mad.
Okay, which one?
I do like Wayne's horse, the Duntal horse, who's Circus Maximus. So obviously behind him the last day. So now you're on the hot favourite though.
Yeah, my lad's a lovely horse. He's kind of the horse I was talking about earlier on, that he kind of came out of nowhere. We didn't know we had him until we ran him. He won very well, and big step up, big different kind of race for him. His second run in Newmarket, and you know he nearly bet a horse called, what's his name, Persian King, is it?
Yeah.
A horse that kind of, you know, all the section lads, all the experts were saying is the next big thing. He pushed him to a, I don't know, it was a head or a neck on only his second ever start down Newmarket. So you know, off the back of that, if he improves from that, he mightn't even have to improve from that to nearly win.
Do you ride him at home, like? Or
no. I ride him as work.
Yeah.
I don't ride him out every day.
Yeah.
Look, he's a lovely horse. It's going to be another step up in class tomorrow. But hopefully he can go
Circus
close.
Maximus then?
Yeah, Circus Maximus, he's another solid horse. I won his maiden on him in Gorn. He ran across the track with me. Look, he's another nice horse. I think a little bit easier ground than Newmarket will suit him, definitely. I think the track in Doncaster will suit him better than Newmarket. But at the same time, he was having his third run. My lad was having his second run, and he beat him fair and square in Newmarket. So I'd be hoping my lad could upstand the form with him.
When you say fairer than that?
When you say you do you'd ride him when he's doing his work, what kind of work would these horses do? Like, how often do they work?
Yeah, okay. So our horses, they canter every day. So they have a rider that rides them every day, and then twice a week they do a stronger bit of work in which the work riders and jockeys will ride them.
Okay.
So
and that, when you say stronger bit of work, is that you'll get them up to as fast as they can go?
Yeah, it depends. It depends how close they are to a race and things like that, as to how strong. But they go to a different gallop and they do a little bit more. You know, every trainer has a different routine, so that's what we do. We canter them every day, and then twice a week they go and do, and then a bit stronger.
If say for this race now, what would they actually gallop over when they're actually doing proper work? How far would they go for their final prep for this? We'll say.
They probably went about 5.
Yeah, and how flat out would you go?
Yeah, you'd get. Now he only had a run. I don't want to be giving away everything that we do, but
no, keep going.
No, he only ran in Newmarket, so obviously he's not going to be back into full work straight away. So he didn't do a massive amount between runs, but you know, it depends the spacing between races and things.
As well
like
as that, how much of it is instinct with your dad in the sense of won't overdo it with him today, just in the sense of
it's a good bit, you know, it's different, like you know, different horses require different amounts of work. If there's a big strong heavy colt might need plenty of grafting to get the fat off him, and you know, a little filly might need as much work. So it's a lot of it is feel at the end of the day.
Does it help so that you've so many Galileos that at least you can put them in one relative bracket, like they're probably 3-year-olds that come on, whereas if you did a million different stallions, they're all maybe a bit more different?
Look, every horse is an individual, every horse is different. Doesn't matter what they're by, they can look completely different, they can be completely different kinds of horses, you know.
But you'd still treat a Galileo different to a Warfront, in the sense the Warfront might be more like
you would, but you would, because they're different horses, you know. It's not specifically because this is Galileo and this is Warfront. You would, because they're different kind of horses, which is obviously because they're by different stallions. So you would treat them differently. But
when you're doing that work, are you doing it against the clock, or are you just doing it from the field?
All our work is timed, right. But it's not. The clock is more kind of an added bit of information rather than working them to the clock, if that makes sense.
Do the clock at the races, do you give any respect to that at all, or is it just too much of a variable?
I think it can be. It's definitely another tool. I think it can be overused, definitely. You know, I've ridden bad horses that can do good times, and I've ridden good horses that aren't doing good times. You know, that kind of way. I think Timeform do an interesting thing where you can see the pace of the race, kind of where it's suited to be in the race, things like that. I think are
sections in effect, like
sections. You know, I see people see a horse win a maiden and they're raving and they say, "Oh, we done last 3 furlongs in this. He has to be good."
It's broadly irrelevant.
A lot of that is, a lot of that can be overdone. You can have bad horses do good times in certain circumstances, but it's an added tool, and it's something that we use as well as our view, you know.
That's the thing, in fairness, Joe, because racing isn't as boring as people who don't get it think, because every race is so different, like in terms of stop starts, like, and how the jockey can I suppose do things off the cuff, and how my impression of the maiden winner could be completely different to yours. And you get that a lot in racing, where I could say to you, geez, he was impressive, and you're like, he's all right, you know, that sort of way. It's just, there's so much going on.
Yeah, look, you can be in races where they go too quick up front, and if you're on a horse that you take your time on them, you can look very impressive on a horse that shouldn't be impressive, you know, that kind of way. And at the same time, you can say they went very quick in a race, and you sat up in the bus the whole way, and you won by 2 lengths, and you could feel it was a very good performance, even though it wasn't visually standout.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So, as you know, it's the more information you can get, the better. But I think everything has to be taken with a pinch of salt, you know.
We should talk about a couple of races at Leopardstown, the Tote.com Knockair Stakes and the Tote.com Airfield Stakes.
Yeah, it's interesting tomorrow, because with Aidan's jockeys literally all over the world are coming back from various places. There are, I suppose, jockeys riding Aidan's horses that you wouldn't expect. Niall McCullough, as he's riding Sovereign tomorrow, he's a not like Niall's son is riding. Niall must be 50 odd as well.
Yeah, Niall's a good rider, a lot of experience. So you know, we just when we're away, we try and just use whoever's available, and you know, obviously Niall has a lot of experience. He rode a listed winner in Galway for Joseph and Derek Smith's colours recently enough. So you know, when he's riding well and he's getting on well, you know, we keep using him and things like that. And
Kingsfield actually is going in the Knockair as well. He's been a lovely horse, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a very progressive horse. It's going to be a big step up in class for him, but he's a likeable horse. He tends to only do what he has to. So you know, it'll be interesting to see how he copes with a step up in class.
Yeah, that particular race, I'd give Imaging a fair chance. Slightly disappointing at Tipperary, but in fairness, DK Wells' horses are in good form. A lot of these horses are probably coming a little bit to the end of their tether. That's in the Knockair Stakes, and then in the Airfield Stakes, it's another interesting race actually. Like Sovereign, obviously, it wasn't a bad run at Naas. I mean, he was a hard horse figure out because you had 3 Galileos in that, and I thought they were hard enough to split. And now Japan. Obviously, Japan did the job, but Sovereign didn't run badly either.
Yeah, they were hard to split. You know, it's kind of a guessing game when you have horses like that. They were all kind of impressive maiden winners, and you're thinking, right, what's what? Sovereign's a grand big horse. He'll be better next year. He's still a little bit weak, a little bit backward, and Any juice in the ground will help him. He's going to be a 1.5 mile plus horse next year, so hopefully he'll run well.
Yeah, I'd Sovereign probably for me. Give us an old 2-year-old, a dark one for next year. That's out of.
I think the horse that was second to Japan in Naas is still a nice horse. I think he's a nice horse. He's brother to Yucatan. Look, there's a lot. It's hard to tell. You know, there's a lot of horses that will come out of the woodwork during the winter.
Mount Everest.
That'll come out of the woodwork.
Out of 6 corrections.
Yeah. So it's hard to tell, but there's a lot of unexposed horses that could be out still. You know.
That's the joy of the winter, that we don't get to see any of that kind of stuff, and you're like, ooh, we're having an exciting off season. Okay, one last thing for us to do before we wrap up this week, with thanks to the Tote.com, we've got another €100 charity bet. Any winnings from our Tote bets will go directly to the Irish Injured Jockeys Fund. Any winnings, that would be. Last week's pick in Leopardstown was No Needs Never, who finished 5th after travelling well for much of the race, it says here. That's great. Travelled well for much of the race.
That wasn't. I wasn't here now. So
I know, but it's like it's.
You might as well blame Donnacha. Well, I wasn't here.
It's of a pattern. So we didn't add to our winnings, which currently stands at €765. This week we've plenty of excellent racing to choose from, but Johnny's gone for Wexford on Sunday.
I haven't gone for excellent racing now, and even though this is a HRI sponsored show, a 0 to 95 handicap hurdle, it is what it is. And I asked Donnacha, is he the forgiving type? This horse has been 11 to 10, 10 to 11, and even money in his 3 starts for William Mullins, and he's been beaten in all 3.
Right.
The first day he managed to unseat the rider on the flat. The second day just was a nightmare of a race, I think, in Clonmel. The last day in Downpatrick, he got going too late. I am the forgiving type. One more chance for Aidan Bob.
Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me 3 times.
You know, back the bloody thing. You know, Paul Townend rides for WP. What have you made of the jockey side, by the way? Rachel Blackmore and Paul. Like Rachel Blackmore, what she's doing she did an interview there the other day where she was painfully reluctant in the interview, but it's been great, I thought.
Yeah, she's been doing incredible. I think it's fantastic that that the big stables, the big owners are backing her up. You know, a lot of people, you know, maybe, I don't know, 5-10 years ago, doesn't matter how well she was riding, people really mightn't given her the opportunity.
Because she's female?
I think so, yeah. You know, probably.
I think that's gone to large.
Yeah, I think it is now, and she's shown now that when you're riding that well, she's obviously a very good rider, that you can get the opportunities now, and I think it's great that people are using her, and she's shown her how good she is. If
you had a daughter down the line, would you be happy that she rode over jumps?
No.
Flat?
Yeah, more so.
Yeah. What a way to end the show.
Johnny's bet this week is the 2 o'clock at Wexford on Sunday. He's gone for 8 and Bob, just to reiterate that. Keep an eye on the tote.com or the Tote social media to see what the payout will be on Johnny's selection this week. Donnacha, congratulations on a great year. I mean, we haven't said that yet, but it's been fairly sensational. So you've got a lot to live up to next year.
Yeah,
and into the future, but good stuff. Congratulations, and enjoy the trip to Dundalk this evening. Johnny,
we have a big box of donuts out there
back.
that he has to walk by to go out of the room.
I'm used to it at this stage.
Maybe in the off season we'll get Krispy Kreme to send you some up. Good stuff. That is Friday Night Racing this week. It's in the books. We'll see you again next week at the same time on all of our social channels, of course, on the radio. Stay tuned for more goodness here on Friday Nights Off the Ball. Good luck.
Friday Night Racing
on Off the Ball.
And they're off.
Brought to you by Go Racing. Plan your day at the races at goracing.ie.